Hi, and welcome back to the Hive, folks. Today we're going to do part two of our Mahjong tile type quilt. It's 3D illusion, really easy, but it looks like you did a lot of hard work. Let's take a quick look at what we've done so far. In part one, we did our main squares. We have our hare, the rabbit, and this is going to be the middle square. This is going to be the main middle square. And then surrounding our deer hare, we have the Mad Hatter. We have the Cheshire Cat. We have Alice. And lastly, but not least, we have the Queen. All right, so the next part is going to be us using this to start creating that 3D effect. These are the accent fabrics. So we're gonna open this up, and I have this selvage to selvage, so it's with the fabric, and I'm just gonna kind of fold it up a little bit more because I have short arms and I don't want to reach beyond my comfort, because that can tend to create uneven edges, and it also will create where you might have, you're not so stable in the cutting. So we want to stay safe. We want to keep this fun. So first things first, I'm going to line the folded edge up on a line on my cutting mat. And then I want to make sure that that is even along there. And what I'm going to be doing for the whole quilt, I'll need 16 rectangles that measure 6 by 4 1/4. For purposes of this episode, I am going to show you 2 of those squares, because we're basically going to make them twice. We're going to make mirror images essentially. So first thing we want to do, we want to make sure we even up our edge. And then since my cutting, or my measurement is 6 across on here, I can just leave that right in place and cut on the other side. And then I can get this out of our way. We're done with that for now. And then we're gonna open this up. And match those selvages up. Give it a little press to kind of even out some wrinkles that we've gotten here. Those wrinkles may not seem like a big deal, but they can throw your measurements off. And sometimes a little can turn into a lot when you're dealing with small increments. So it's best just to take care of it while it's not a problem. So we're gonna cut off those selvages so we don't get those in our seam lines. And then for this part, I want to go over 4 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. And remember, this is folded up, so I'm actually cutting 2. And then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's cut 1/4. All right, and then let's bring this over a little bit so we can get that evened up. 3, 4 1/4. And then last 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 1/4. I'm gonna scoot that over. Quarter. All right. And then this can be used for scrap. Now we've got our rectangles. We're going to move on to the 2.5-inch strips that we've selected for this section. And what we are going to have for each block, we are going to need 4 6-inch on the white. And for each block, you can have the white be different. It doesn't have to be all the same. So you make it a little scrappy, and that's totally fine. In fact, I encourage it. It creates interest. So got the selvage off, and now we'll put that right there. And then for this first one, we are going to do 6 inches. We'll do one more at 6 inches. All right, so there's 4 of those. And then the next needs to be 6 1/4 inches. So I'm thinking I can get at least 2 off of here. So there's the 2 for that. And this is probably a bit short. Well, maybe not. Let's see. If I can use it all, I will, because who doesn't like to avoid waste? All right, let's measure this thing. Oh, we are 1/8 of an inch short. That's okay, crumb bin. All right. We'll find a use for it for sure. But we just need 2 more of these. So we'll take our second strip and make sure that it's even. Sometimes it fights a little bit, but we'll just fight back. Make it do what we want it to do, right? Okay. All right, so we're going for 6 1/4. So that's right there. put that in that pile. All right, we're done with that. Now we're going to move on to our dark blue. Now we're only needing 1 square in each of our blocks that has the blue outer. So I'm going to cut those at the same time to save myself a little bit of effort. So these ones are going to measure at 8" for the side. We'll get that one first. And then the other side is going to be 8¼ So we're going to cut 2 of those on here. 2 of each of those. All right, so there's the 8". And now we need 8¼ There we go. So we got those. Toss that one aside. Now we're going to move on to the pink, which makes up the rest of the block. And I'm going to go for this color here. It's really fabulous. And it's not quite going to cover all 4 of the blocks, or all 3 of them, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little Easter egg on each of my blocks using a different pattern, a different fabric. And by doing that, I create where it's not a mistake, it's a pattern. And what happens when you repeat something like that, it becomes imperceptible to the eye. People will notice it, but it won't stand out as out of place because it's repeated throughout the quilt. So that's something to think about when you're making a quilt. If you come up against a situation where maybe you ran out of a certain kind of fabric and you can't get a hold of it, just pull something from your stash that makes a little, makes a complement to it. All right. So we need 4 of these to be 8s. Actually, we need 8¼ And then we're going to make this into my 8. All right. And then we're going to take our Easter egg fabric, and we're going to do an 8¼ off of this. In fact, we're going to do 2 because it's going to be in both blocks one time. All right, get this lined up here. And we'll do 8¼8¼ 1/4. And then we need one more pink for the second block. And that can be this one. Super pretty. So for this one, we're doing 3/8 and then 3 8 1/4. And get our 8 1/4 done. And now we'll unfold this and get our last 8. I'm lining, you might be seeing that I'm crooked on the cutting board, but I'm lining up according to my ruler. So I promise you I'm not creating a heartache for me. So now we've got all the cutting set up. We're ready to move this party over to the sewing machine and start seeing this magic happen. All right, so first off, we're going to do the easy part. We're going to take these white strips that we cut and we are going to line them up on the long edge of our rectangles. And I am going to be doing what we call chain piecing. And what that is I get this going and I will sew one after the other after the other. And for this one, it doesn't matter orientation just yet. We're going to get to a part where orientation does matter. And you might be asking, if we're just going to be putting these squares back together in the form of a frame, why did I cut the center into these squares? Well, that is a great question. You're about to see the magic that happens when you do just a little bit of play. So we want to just get these down. And this is probably the most satisfying part, when you can just put these on the machine, get it set, and then let the machine sew it up. The only thing that might make me a little sad is if I found out my bobbin was empty. But we are good there, so no sadness today. All right. Oops. I just about made a mistake here. We're only doing 4 of these, so hang on. This one is actually going to be the next section, and this is the part where we need to pay kind of close of attention. So far I'm going to show you what we've got. We've got all these pieces that they match. We're going to have 2 on that side. We're going to have 2 on this side. And the next piece is going to form the top here and the bottom down here. So in order for that to happen, I have to have 2 that go this way, so it's on here, and then 2 that go this way, so we have a perfect square. Now I'll show you what I mean on the machine. And for this, I just lightly finger press this for right now to get that kind of folded back a little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about that. When I've got it sewn, I'll go over and iron it. Sometimes it's nice to build yourself a little enclosure where you've got your iron, your sewing machine, and your cutting board. So you just sit and go, go, go. So on this one, to make sure I'm going to have the right pieces I want when I'm done, I made sure that this piece was at the top. Now I'm going to rotate this to have that white one at the bottom. And that way I'll have my 2 halves. Honestly, that's probably about the trickiest part of this whole quilt. If you can figure that one out, you are going to be just fine. So again, just lightly finger pressing, not really stretching anything, just finger pressing it to keep it in place while we're getting it sewn. And then if you ever discover that maybe you have a little more fabric on the bottom than you do on the top, I wouldn't worry about that too terribly much, because the feed dogs in your machine tend to take in fabric a little faster than the top. All right, last one. All right. So now what I like to do right here while I'm at the machine still is I like to get these positioned to make sure they're still doing the thing that I need it to do, so I can go on to the next section. So we've got that, and now I'm going to start the blue outline. So that is going to start here, and those are 8-inch pieces. And we have just one that is for blue on this block. Each block gets one blue section. And it's important that it's not always the same block. So for instance, this one is the top left block. I would want to do a top right block and a top left block, or a bottom left block. And then after that, I would do a bottom right block. And that way, when we put them into the quilt in their corners, they're going to make our illusion come to life. So now I'm doing the 8 1/4 to match my side that we already did one border around. One second, I think the wrong one. There we go. Got the wrong one. There we go. You can always tell if it doesn't match up, that maybe take a look at something. All right. And this is going to be up there. Oops. I'll grab that one later. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add pink to this side, this side, this side, and this side. When I'm done with that, I'll meet you back at the cutting table and we'll get to the next section. Now we're back, and here is our upper side. And we have the lower and corners. Now you'll notice this and this are interchangeable, and this are interchangeable. That's an important distinction when we're making these blocks, because if we all make them like this, we're never going to make a frame. This feature, the blue, is going to take turns on each corner. So right here we have it on the upper right. The next one we're going to do is going to be the upper left. Then we're going to go to the upper right, the lower right, and then the lower left. And what that's going to do is I have to flip it. So this square, this whole block, will be our lower right block, and it'll look, I'm going to scoot that down and bring this back into play here. This one will be up here, and you'll have another one here and another one here of these, with this one in a corner, and then we'll have a different one on each of the sides. That's just a preview. I know it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. These are big blocks. They come together fast. And I'm hoping this inspires you. So thank you for joining me for this accent block, part 2 of our Mahjong 3D illusion quilt. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe, like, share. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me if this has inspired you to pull out a panel or given you an idea on something else, or how you can translate this into something different. I'd love to know what you were working on. We all have, quilters have such creative minds, and I am always hoping to hear other ideas. And if you have something you'd like to see me present, let me know in the comments. I'd love to do that for you. Anyways, thank you so much. I will see you next time when you come back to the hive. Take care, everyone.